How's it going, lads and lasses? I finally got my hands on the new Mego Grim Reaper figure. This one's been... if you've gotten any of the figures from the Mego Tops deal, you kind of understand this has been kind of a pain. And a lot of that's to blame on, the whole crisis, things getting held up at the docks and everything. I'll get more into that after the review. But, long story short, I've got it now, and I'm excited. So let's get into this. Alright, so looking at articulation here, it's pretty standard Mego articulation. The head just swivels back and forth. There's no bobbing up and down. I'm going to go ahead and take his scythe off. The body still uses the elastic bands, but they seem to be pretty good on at least my Grim Reaper. I don't know how consistent that is. I know that those can have some issues. So you have the basic, you can swivel out that far. You don't want to do a full 360 with these because of the elastic bands. You've got a wrist swivel that can do a full 360, and then swivel in and out, back and forth. And you've got an ab crunch, so you get a pretty good range of motion out of that. Legs can kick out pretty far. Again, you don't want to do a full 360 with these because of the elastic bands. That's about how much knee action you're going to get. And the feet swivel back and forth. So it's your basic Mego style of articulation. As far as accessories go, he just comes with the scythe. That's all you really need for a Grim Reaper figure. So I wouldn't expect to get more than that. So going into the detail here, I just kind of want to focus in on the face. Let me get the hood out a little bit. This skull head. Mego's not known for having these crazy detailed sculpts and amazing paint jobs. That's not why you get a Mego figure. It's partly the nostalgia. It's partly they're just cool. They're cool, inexpensive figures. That being said, that looks really freaking cool. That skull face is just, it's creepy. It's imperfect, and that's what I really like about it. There's a lot of character to it. And it just makes for a really awesome, creepy Grim Reaper figure. I'm really happy with that face sculpt. And it looks pretty close to what the promo images showed. I think some of the promo images had red eyes, though, but I don't care that it doesn't have red eyes. It still looks really, just really creepy, really cool. I really like it. So what do I think of this figure? I'll do a little too long don't read before I kind of get into some of the issues behind it. I really like it. It's a really solid Mego figure. It's probably my favorite up to this point, honestly. That skull face is just awesome. I've been wanting just a generic, unlicensed Grim Reaper figure. There aren't very many good ones. This one definitely scratched that itch for me. It's hard to get a hold of now, but if you can find one, I would definitely recommend picking him up. With that being said, there's just a couple of things I want to note. They're not really negatives. They're just things that I kind of want to put out there. So it's not on the new Mego V2 body. That's the bandless one. It doesn't have all those elastic bands connecting all the different limbs and whatnot. I wish it was. I think this was designed just before they switched over to that new body. There's a V2 coming out. Maybe that one will be on the new body. We'll see. The other thing is, when I got this, it was just open. Like, straight up, the box was ripped open, and the figure was loose inside of the packaging. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know if my box got picked up in some drug raid or something, but it was open, and I could tell that the box had been resealed. Nothing was missing, and the figure is still in great condition. But it's just weird. I'm curious to see if anybody else has gotten any of these Topps Mego figures and has had something similar happen. I just wanted to bring that up. So I'll kind of get into why it's a bit hard to get a hold of, and just some other options that you might have for getting this figure. So like I said, this is part of the Mego Topps deal. For those of you who don't know, Topps is primarily a baseball card company. They mostly deal in print collectibles. So you have various prints from things like Star Wars and of course sports. They're mostly known for collectible baseball cards though. So this was really one of their first dives into like a figure collectible line. And it kind of started off with a rocky start. The deal was, I believe these pre-orders went up in October, and there was a Grim Reaper, and there was a couple other things, and they were kind of releasing pre-orders each week, like it was a new one, so like after 7 days, those pre-orders would go down and new ones would go up. None of the other figures really interested me, so I forget what the other ones were. But, it was a made-to-order thing, so they were saying, like, if they don't get enough pre-orders, they're not going to get made. Obviously, they got enough because they got made. They were saying that they were going to ship, I believe, around January, February, somewhere between those 2 months. Well, March rolls around, and I haven't heard anything. I follow Mego's social media. I follow Mego Museum, which is better at giving Mego news than the actual Mego list of social media outlets. I don't follow the Topps social media, though, because I don't have any interest in it outside of this exclusive Mego line. I'm not a fan of baseball cards. I don't really like collecting prints. I just wanted this figure, really. But I would check in on it every now and again. Because I wasn't getting updates from anywhere. And I was even kind of scouring the internet looking on different subreddits, different forums, and nobody really seemed to know for sure. There were some people who were emailing like Topps customer service, and they were getting just generic emails back, just saying they were held up, didn't know when they were coming in, etc., etc. But it was a little frustrating because I'm not one of these people who gets super impatient. I'm okay with waiting on stuff. It's the not knowing. That's what frustrates me. I like to be informed, even if it's just, hey, they're still at the dock, we're still working on it, sorry they haven't gotten here yet, we don't know when they'll get here, but we're just letting you know they're still coming. That's all that I need, and I wasn't even really getting that. Well, nobody was getting that. It wasn't just me, obviously. So that's what was frustrating about it, because part of me was thinking, okay, Topps hasn't even mentioned these Mego figures once. Have they forgotten about this? Is this just something they're trying to shove under the rug because it failed? Didn't get enough pre-orders? Should I be asking for a refund? Etc., etc. I think it was late March when Mego Museum made an update saying that they were finally shipping from the dock and they were going to start shipping them out here soon. And then soon ended up being a couple months. So it was just a frustrating ordeal trying to get these. And like I said, it's not the waiting that frustrates me, it's the not being informed. Because I've heard some people say, oh, I've been informed, I'm in their Facebook group, the Mego Ambassadors group. I shouldn't have to join the Facebook. For one, I hate Facebook. For two, I hate Facebook groups even more. I shouldn't have to join a Facebook group when they have a regular Facebook account, they have a Twitter, and they have a YouTube channel. I should be able to get updates from any of those three outlets. And on top of that, I don't necessarily think it's really Mego's responsibility, because yeah, they're producing the figures, but they're not distributing them. I feel like that keeping me informed falls more on Topps, and Topps was almost acting like these didn't even exist. At least as far as what I could tell. I don't know if there's any other outlets where they were giving updates on this, or what have you, but I wasn't really seeing any, and it was frustrating, and it made me hate it made me really not like the Topps social media, because it was all just prints, nothing about the Mego figures. I'm like, come on, somebody has to say something, just give an update. Just say, hey, those Topps Mego figures, they're coming, they're not here yet, we don't know when they'll be here, but they're on their way, just so I know, okay, you didn't forget about them. That's all that I want. But anyways, I have it now, and I really like it. And like I said, if you can get your hands on it, I do recommend it. If you can't get your hands on this one, there's going to be a version 2 coming out here in a couple months, hopefully a couple months, we'll see. That's going to be at places like Big Bad Toy Store. It looks like the version 2 is going to be different, though. I don't know how different because the promo images are a little confusing. Some of them look basically like the one we have here. There's one that looks really different, like different robes, different head, different scythe. So who knows what that's going to actually end up looking like. That's one thing with Mego is you don't really know what they're going to look like oftentimes because they're not very good with promo images. But that's something to keep an eye on, and I'll have links for both of the primary listings for both versions in the description in case for some reason these do end up being back in stock on the Topps website. Alright, well that's going to do it for this video, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time.